for parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kids Talk Press now.
But I do urge them to be patient and not to be expect to become famous overnight, because sometimes it can take years to get established. And sometimes young people are impatient. If you're going to run away from home, think twice about it. Because when I ran away from home on the second or third day, I got very hungry. And I came back with my tail between my legs and said, Mom, what's for lunch today? The more failures you have in a way, and you learn from them, and they help you to go on and to do something better. Writing too, as a profession now, can bring in an income, which it could not do 40, 50 years back. We had hardly any book publishers here. I used to, for the first 20 years of my writing life, be writing for magazines and newspapers for their Sunday sections. But now we've got a lot of publishers and lots of writers, and things are looking pretty healthy on the literary front.
Right.
So I never discourage a young person from writing, but I do urge them to be patient and not to be expect to become famous overnight, because sometimes it can take years to get established. And sometimes young people are impatient and maybe persuade their mommy and daddy to invest in publishing a book of their juvenile work, which they might regret later on and feel that they should have waited a little longer. But never mind. If you want to express yourself as a writer, go ahead. Was ahead of me. And at the same time, over the years, especially when I was younger, if things got difficult, I wouldn't hesitate to take a job or do something that would bring in an income for a certain amount of time. Must have had in my lifetime about 6 different jobs, but I never kept them for very long, because as soon as I could get back on my feet with my books or writing, I would give up the job. So when I was in England, I worked for a travel agency. I worked as a clerk. I worked in a photographic firm. Came back to India. I once worked for CARE, which was a relief organization. I've edited a couple of magazines over the years. So I've done a lot of things, and why not? You must be prepared to do different things sometimes. But let's say that of the 70 years I've been writing, I would say I think a good... at least 60 have been spent entirely as a writer. Well, it's both in a way. You need talent to write. The actual process of writing is an art. To write well is an art. Of course, sometimes apart from being a talent, you can have great writers are geniuses, but even otherwise, I think anyone who writes a book must have some talent. But the actual, whether it's good writing is an art. You can also have something like bad writing, which is not an art. Well, they have. No, that's not true. A lot of Indian writers have made an impact globally. I mean, you go back to, of course, Rabindranath Tagore, who got the Nobel Prize back in, I think, 1917, perhaps. When I grew up, when I was at school, we had writers like R.K. Narayan and Mulkraj Anand and Raja Rao, so many who were published abroad, because we didn't have many publishers in India, as I mentioned. But still, they managed to get published abroad. And then in more recent years, there have been Indian writers who've made an impact internationally. Rushdie, who was originally lived in Bombay, no doubt he's a British subject now. And then you had Vikram Seth. You've had so many who have made an impact, and the reason is because they're using the English language in a way which is an international language. And if you want to get published in the USA or in Britain or in Australia or New Zealand or Canada, you have to use English. Although now, hopefully, and in the future too, we will have more Indian language writers, regional writers, getting translated into English and other languages and making an impact abroad. So I think it's increased over the years, the number of Indian writers who do make an impact. Not all of them do, because some may not have a universal appeal. In fact, my appeal is basically in India rather than abroad. Most, I think 90% of my readers are here because I'm writing about Indian children and about this country, where I've spent all my life and to which I belong. I think but things have got better for Indian writers over the years.
The 3 life lessons you would want to share with all the children who are listening to you right now.
3 life lessons. Okay. Well, 3 life lessons. If you're going to run away from home, think twice about it. Because when I ran away from home, on the 2nd or 3rd day, I got very hungry. And I came back with my tail between my legs and said, Mom, what's for lunch today? So don't run away from home. At the same time, be adventurous, and if you've grown up, you finish school, college, and you want to travel or go around the world, go. It's important, I think, also you must experience something of the world, the rest of the world around you. It'll help you to be a better writer or a better person all round. And the third, what was the third experience? Experience that's important. You have to learn to cope with failure. Very important, because I think that failure comes to all of us at some time in our lives. I've had periods of failure when things just didn't turn out, go the way I wanted them to, because the more failures you have, in a way, and you learn from them, and they help you to go on and to do something better. So fail once, try again, fail again, fail better. But you, in a way, the more you fail, the more you'll succeed. Put it that way.
Right. That's incredible. That's incredible advice. Fail better. I'm gonna bookmark that one for myself. We've actually got young writers who've been asking us that what is, they sometimes feel that they can't write, or they feel a writer's block. What's your thought process when you begin writing? Like, what's your structure to writing, if at all?
I'm often asked that question about writer's block, and it does happen to most writers, that you get, maybe there's a period in your life when you're not writing the way you want to, or you're working on a particular book or story, or you get stuck halfway through. It happens to you at school when you're doing an essay and in an exam, and you're halfway through the essay you're writing, and you come to a stop and say, now what do I write next? So actually, I won't sit down to write a story or an essay unless I've done it in my head first. So you do it in your head, you see it as a picture, almost like a movie, and then you know what you're going to write. The beginning, the middle, and the end. The characters are there, the plot is there. So it's only a question then of putting it into words and good sentences.
Sir, thank you so much for spending this hour with us.
Thank you for all the nice questions.